the actual meaning behind ghosts, how you can attract ghosts, and what type of person gets possessed by a ghost. Shall we find out if you're a type of person to get possessed by a ghost? Alright, it's all in the mind. It's all about the choices that you make. So I want everyone to stand up. As Brother Vinay said, if you're under 15, or even if you're over 15, it doesn't matter. We can't take any liability for what happens. No, I'm serious. This is not a laughing matter. We can't take any liability of what happens. No, it's just rather than as Afros. So we can't take any liability for what happens to you tonight. Right? Because when you talk about ghosts, what happens? You attract ghosts. Okay? So what I want you guys to do, maybe if someone could hold the mic for me for 1 minute. So what I want you guys to do is put your hands out in front of you. Alright? Don't scare the other person in front. Right? And then I want you to go like this. Right? Can everyone see? Right? And what you can do, it's a psychology test. Right? You can either put your right thumb or your left thumb, or left thumb over your right thumb, or just your thumbs side by side like that. Just whatever feels natural to you. Don't overthink it. Just whatever feels natural, and just choose one. Right? You guys ready? So, if you've put your right thumb over your left thumb, it means that you have enough power to not be haunted by ghosts. So you guys can sit down.
Did someone fall down?
What did I say? What did I say? This is a serious topic. It's a real thing. And tonight we're going to dive a bit deeper into what it really means. Right? Now if you put your left thumb over your right thumb, it means there's a 50% chance you could be haunted by a ghost. So you guys have to take this session even more seriously. Please sit down. Now as in if you put your two thumbs, please stand up. If you had two thumbs, how many of you had two thumbs? I think there was one boy, two Akash. Was Akash? So you guys, you put two thumbs out. It means you are going to be haunted by a ghost tonight. I'm only kidding. Welcome to Harrows. Maybe we can put these side lights on. Put these side lights on.
You should actually have as much light.
Yes, just one of them. One side's fine. One side's fine. Maybe that side. Put that side on and that side up. So no, it's good to be here. It's good to be at Harrows. Tonight we're going to discuss this topic of ghosts. And as you heard, I'm going to give some myths. Right? We're going to have some entertainment. We're going to have some education. And we're going to have some experience on the spiritual aspects of ghosts. How many of you have come to a Harrows before? Who's here for the first? Anyone here for the first time? Put your hand if you're here for the first time. No? One person here for the first time. How many of you are under 15? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Alright, okay. Okay, so I want to tell a small story. And so, how many of you actually believe in ghosts? Right? Put your hands up if you don't actually believe ghosts exist. Okay, so hopefully we can prove some science behind actually what ghosts are, how they act, how they behave, and maybe we can have a little experience if they can actually come. Are you guys into that?
Yeah.
So all the boys are like, yeah! You guys will be crying. Okay. So I travelled in India just 2 years ago, and I went to a place called Mumbai. Everyone knows Mumbai is? So Mumbai is a place busier than London, has more flats, less houses, everything's congested, so many people, cows on the street, cars in every single lane going the same way, one car coming down the other way. So Mumbai is a crazy place. And I was staying at one temple, right? And they were telling some real ghost stories, real life ghost stories. So they say a ghost, different types of ghosts have different sorts of powers, right? Different types of ghosts have different sorts of powers. Some are stronger and some are weaker. Just like you have football players, some play in the Championship and some play in the Premier League, right? So there are ghosts, some are weaker and some are stronger. They say the weakest ghosts, they have no spiritual knowledge, right? Spiritual knowledge gives you something called Shakti. Do you guys know what Shakti means? Anyone? Put your hand up. Shakti means? Energy or power, right? Shakti, energy or power. So, if spirituality actually gives you something called Shakti, and the highest type of Shakti is called Bhakti Shakti. Shakti from devotion, right? So when you practice spirituality, what you actually get is Bhakti Shakti. That's why you see spiritual people are actually one of the most powerful people in the world. Why? For two reasons. Firstly, they are connected to something higher, right? We say Krishna, some call him God. And secondly, they're connected to a system to get that energy from Krishna, right? And the best way to connect to Krishna is through a system called Bhakti Yoga, the power of devotion. And so, when you become spiritually powerful, you attain this Bhakti Shakti. But most spiritualists, they use it for good. You see them creating so many projects to help other people, that you see them giving so many seminars or talks in the West. You see them singing so many devotional songs, reading so many devotional scriptures, using it for good. But now, what happens when you use it for bad? Because you can use anything powerful for your own gain or for the gain of others. So, in India, you find the most powerful types of ghosts. But in the Western world, in England, relatively, they're not so powerful. And why is that? Because they have low spiritual knowledge. Right? They have low spiritual knowledge. So Bhakti Shakti gives you power, and depending on that power, how much of that you have, that determines if you become powerful or not. Does that sound good? How many of you actually want this spiritual power? Right? And you can use it in your own, I mean, don't use it to attract ghosts, but so this spiritual power can be used in so many things. It can be used in your education, it can be used in your relationships, it can be used to focus your mind with determination. It can make you a powerful person in society. How many of you want that? How many of you want to stand out from the crowd? Yes, no? No? How many of you don't want to stand out from the crowd? Okay, no one. Everyone wants that. So, coming back to the topic of ghosts. So ghosts, right, in UK are weaker, and in India they're stronger. So at the monastery I was staying, the place that I was staying, about 150 monks, right? They're all staying together, and late one night, about 1 o'clock in the morning, in the busiest city in the world, there was pin drop silence. Right? It was the night of a half moon, and Mumbai is on the coast, so you could hear the waves hitting the beach wall. Ever so often you just see a car winding down the dusty lane outside the temple. And so what happened? They told me a story. So one night, a very rich entrepreneur, a rich businessman came from the UK. And that rich businessman came all the way from Mumbai on a business trip. He somewhat believed in God. He was a spiritualist. He was quite wealthy. He was doing all right for himself. Didn't have to work many hours. And so he took a flight with his wife over to Mumbai. And he was staying at a hotel 30 minutes from the temple. 30 minutes from the temple. And he was staying on the top floor of the hotel. He was doing well. And that night, as he was about to go to sleep, he switched on the television. His wife by his side, already fast asleep. Him, just in his bed, just brushed his teeth, just about to go to sleep. And he said, "Let me check what's on television. Let me check what's on television." And now, so, before coming to this hotel room, he had a funny feeling, right? About the hotel staff, about the surroundings that he was in, about the room that they gave him. Because the room had just been freshly painted the night before, right? It's been freshly painted. It was a brand new room. Everything in the room was brand new. And so as he switched on the television, he started flicking through all the channels, seeing what's coming on TV. And then all of a sudden, the TV starts going fuzzy, right? The TV starts going fuzzy. And he hears a really loud sound of inference, right? You know that sound was a really high-pitched sound of inference. The TV starts going fuzzy, and he starts wondering what's going on. He starts slapping the remote, what's going on? And all of a sudden, what he sees, it's a true story, all of a sudden what he sees is a white face with 2 black eyes and his arms on the TV screen, just looking at him like that. And he screams, like, "What's going on? What's going on?" He calls for the staff, like, "There's someone in my room, there's someone in my room." And no one picks up the phone, there's just inference on the telephone. And he looks to his left, and his wife, with her neck cracked and hanging just by the end of her skin, looking at him like that, because a ghost has possessed her. So he ran out the hotel room, literally ran for 1 hour to the temple, knocked on the temple door, was like, "Wake up, wake up, wake up, let me see His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj, let me see His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj." And so Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj calmed him down. He went up to his room, calmed him down, and he was panicking, like, "What happened to my wife? What happened to my wife?" Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj was like, "Don't worry, I'm going to sort this out. Let me tell you the secret behind ghosts." And so that man was actually never seen again after that night. his wife, no one knows what happened to her, and the room that he was actually in, when they peeled all the wallpaper back, you saw all these writings in ancient Sanskrit to invoke the power of ghosts. This is a true story. This is a serious thing. So yeah. So all of you looking at me, either scared or just really bored, right? So there's a true story happened. Let me tell you another one. So I don't know if I should tell this one, because this one's a bit closer to home. How many of you been to Bhaktivedanta Manor? Do you guys want to know this one?
Yes.
Do you guys want to know this one?
Yes!
Oh my God, I don't want to know. So Bhaktivedanta Manor is our local Hare Krishna temple. And what did I say in the beginning? Bhakti, Shakti means power. So ghosts are also attracted to power, it said, right? Because they know this is a powerful place. So apparently, for every person sitting in this room, there are 10 ghosts around them. So how many people in this room? 40 people, there are 10 ghosts around you guys. So back to Vedanta Manor, one night, 2 brahmacharis, I won't name their names, they're coming back from a late night program. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning, they're driving through, and the gates are locked. So they didn't have a key, they didn't want to wake anyone up. So what they did is they climbed over the gates. Do you know what gates I'm talking about? The front gates. They climbed over the gates. It's a bit of a cloudy night. And they said, oh, let's just walk to the temple. And for anyone, that walk in pitch black at night, just your torches on your phone, is scary. Have anyone done that before? Done that walk at night? Right? It's just scary for anyone, whoever you are. So they're both close to each other, and they're walking, they just start chanting their rounds. Right? They're chanting Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. You know, some people chant very loud sometimes. Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Ram, So they start walking down that winding road coming up to the manor. Any of you know the history of the manor? The manor used to be what before?
Hospital.
To be a hospital, it used to be a nursing home,
Yeah.
right? It used to be a care home. So elderly people, loads of people passing away in an elderly home. So they're chanting Hare Krishna, going down, going down. And all of a sudden, you know the first car park you see? First car park you see? They see a black figure run all the way across the car park, right? Literally in 5 seconds. Run across the car park, right? From the forest, come out, run across the car park towards the manor. And they look at each other like, did you just see that? They're like, yeah, we saw that. So they're literally holding each other's hand, and they're like, Hare Krishna. And they don't go through that car park, they turn left. Are you guys with me? Do you know where we are?
Yeah.
They turn left, and then they turn right, going towards Tulsi Gardens, right? They're walking out the gravel. So Hare Krishna, even more intensely, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And again, you see the ghost run across the playground, and they're like, did you just see that? And now all they see is a swing. It's going up and down, creaking.
That's actually what it does.
Sounds like Lion King, isn't it? Vinay, don't do loud sound effects. Okay, so what happened? I'm not going to get that out of your head now, are you? Okay. No, but this is a true story. Think about it. You're at the manor, right? On a Sunday night. Or no, think about it this way. Pretend you have to do Janmashtami service, right? late at night. Pretend you have to do Janmashtami service. So next Janmashtami, just remember this story, right? So the ghost runs across the playground, goes through the bushes, and now they think that it's on the other side of the car park. So again, they don't go that way. They go straight past Tulsi Maharani, and then they go left into the little courtyard, right? Left into the little courtyard just outside the manor, right? And so they're like, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. And all of a sudden the ghost runs past them, going towards the shuru. And now at night, the front entrance where people take darshan, the main entrance, that's locked, right? So they have to go through the shuru, right? They have to go through the shuru. So they're all shaking. Together they're shaking, like, what's going to happen? What's going on? So they go through the shuru, and they put their shoes, and the manor, they said that the most haunted place in the whole of the manor, I'm going to give you the lowdown, is the stretch between the showroom and the pantry. You guys know that? The showroom and the pantry. The pantry is a place where you get water. A place where you can wash your plates and get water. That place is the scariest place of the manor. And even more scarier is that one light just hanging down. Right? It literally looks like a haunted mansion, that one light. So they're like, you go first, no, you go first. So they walk through, they literally run all the way up to the ashram, get their sleeping bag, and just fall asleep anywhere they can. But that night, no, I'm not going to say. So that's one story. And what happened was they were curious, like, what was that thing? And now, that time, Manor just recently put CCTV cameras everywhere. So they looked on the CCTV camera, and there was still inference, this random inference on the CCTV cameras, and they said, oh, where can we see this person the most? So they were scrolling through hours of CCTV because they think, yes, we finally found something that we can prove ghosts are real, we can show this to people, right? Because that is actually the mood of a doer. He uses everything to show that spirituality is factual to the layman. So they looked at the camera and they saw, oh, there was someone in black. And they saw, yes, we found this person. We found it. We can actually prove ghosts are real. But when they scrolled 5 seconds longer, the person turned around and there's Purajan Prabhu just chanting his rounds. That actually happened in Manor, so they're actually scared for a few days, but then they realised, yeah, Purajan Prabhu, because there's this one devotee called Purajan Prabhu, and he cleans the toilets at night, right? He cleans the toilets at night. And so that night, he had run out of liquid, so he had to go to the shed. So you always put, you know that shed where, in the tennis court car parks, there's that little container. So there's stuff in there, so he had to go through, and he walks quite fast, so he went through. He went through, and
I just jumped.
he went round, and he was just cleaning, like, he was cleaning toilets and stuff. And so yeah, that's a true story man. But actually, you find at the manor that people do actually get possessed, and people do actually have this experience in ghosts. Have you ever, how many of you, put your hand up, have this experience of ghosts actually pressuring down on their chest? You're sleeping, right? You've had this in Spain, right? Sleep paralysis, right? It's a real thing. So many people, right? It said that I think 2 in 5 people have claimed that they had sleep paralysis, right? So that's when. So the smallest circle, right? The smallest circle is something called the soul, or the atma, or the consciousness, or whatever you want to call it. And this is said in meditation. This is your life force, right? This consciousness pervades all your body. Scientists still haven't found out what this consciousness what it is. But Vedic literature has been saying this for the whole time. This consciousness is what drives you, Is that what makes you... No, it's fine. It's what actually keeps you alive, this force in your body. It's like clinically, there's no difference between at the point of death of a dead man and someone that's living. Clinically, no difference. So scientists said, okay, there must be something that actually determines whether someone's alive or whether someone's dead. So Vedic literatures call this the Atma, or the soul. Okay, so around the soul, if there was a bigger circle... Okay, sorry. It's fine, it doesn't matter. Okay, so the bigger circle, what does that bigger circle represent? That bigger circle represents, I think you guys know, does anyone know? There's 3 things. Anyone know? It makes up the subtle body, or the subtle energy. Anyone know? Subtle body? So first thing is the intelligence. Second thing, mind. Third thing is the F, the false ego. There's 3 things: the mind, the intelligence, the false ego. This makes up the subtle composition. So what is the function of the mind? Does anyone know? Function of the mind. So the mind is basically a filter in your body. It says yes or no. Right? So something comes at you, the mind says yes or no. And what does that yes or no depend on? Depends on the intelligence. So the intelligence, right, it controls the mind. So whatever comes in through your senses, the mind says yes or no based on the intelligence. Right? And the false ego literally has an override system of the whole, is a mechanism to override the whole system. Right? So the false ego is that if you feed your ego, it will actually seep into your intelligence, seep into your mind, seep into your senses. So that's why in Vedic literature it says you have to get rid of this false ego, because then you can see the soul, right? You can know what the soul is. So this is a subtle body. So what is it? First thing was soul, and then the subtle body. 3 things is the mind, intelligence, and false ego, right? So okay, that's where we're at. Now, a bigger circle if we were to draw, right, would be the bigger circle are the 5 senses. What are the 5 senses? 5 senses? Sight, taste, hearing, touch, smell, right? So through these senses, you actually acquire information about the world. Yes or no? You read a book, and you hear a sound, and that would have been a good point to chuck. Messed up. Okay. You see things. Through the senses, these are your gross senses. This is what you perceive of another person. Because when you're with someone, yeah, alright. Okay, so through these senses, you actually perceive another person. So this Vedic psychology, right? We call it Vedic psychology. There's a great book called Vedic Psychology. It's actually some of the deepest knowledge in this world. This sounds quite superficial, like, oh, I heard it all before. Soul, mind, first ego, intelligence, science, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we've heard it all before, these kind of things. But the application of this philosophy is so powerful, even the leaders don't know about this. This is like step 1. This is step 1. Even the leaders of a society don't know this kind of psychology. So if you learn this Krishna conscious philosophy inside out, you can know, right? You can know, you not even know, you can experience what the mind is like. You can experience how powerful the intelligence can be. You can experience the false ego. And lastly, you can experience the soul, right? So Krishna consciousness is actually not a belief system. It's not actually a religion. It's an experience system. But you need certain criteria, certain qualification, certain mood to actually experience this Krishna consciousness, right? You can experience it here and now. And we're going to do that at the end with Kirtan. You can actually experience that. And so, we have these 5 senses, we have the subtle body, we have the soul. Does anyone know then what they say about a ghost? What is a ghost in its makeup? Someone say Maybelline. That is lame. Anyone know? A ghost? Lost soul, interesting. Anyone else? Any of the ladies?
His wish wasn't completed before he died.
Okay, interesting. His wish wasn't completed before he died. Anyone else? Good point. He has material desires, but in specific, which one does a ghost have and which one doesn't a ghost have? Okay, so the ghost has a soul. It has a soul and only a subtle body, right? Only the subtle body, so it only has a mind, intelligence, false ego. It's actually, oh yeah, this is two. Okay, it has, right? And it doesn't have this outer body. It doesn't have a body like ours. That's why you see ghosts like Casper. Anyone know that? Anyone know Casper the Friendly Ghost? I can go through walls. He doesn't have an actual body like ours. So he's not bound by the laws of physical nature. Physical nature. A ghost can actually go anywhere. A ghost can actually travel very fast through the mind, through the intelligence, and through the false ego. Now, the problem with ghosts is that you can become a ghost by firstly, at the point of death, if you have too many material desires, right? And secondly, if you've committed suicide, right? That sounds morbid, but if you commit suicide, actually, technically, in Vedic literature, you become a ghost because you have to fulfill that time. You have to fulfill that time. And so the ghost, he has this body, right? The subtle body and the soul. And so we're going to do a little exercise, a group exercise. I want you guys, right, to think, right? Pretend you're a ghost, right? I want you guys to pretend you're... Guys, close your eyes. Pretend you're a ghost. Right? Pretend you're a ghost. Right? You guys ready? Pretend you're a ghost. So what I want you guys to do is imagine you're in your house, right? You're a ghost in your house. You're in your room. You go downstairs, right? You go to the fridge and you see, oh wow, my mum bought chocolate, right? My mum bought chocolate, it's great, but you're a ghost, right? And you try to get the chocolate, right? But you can't get the chocolate. You want the chocolate so much, but when you try to get the chocolate, your hand just falls through and you just can't get it. So you try another way. Let me try and hold the fridge and let me try and eat the chocolate through my mouth, but just can't get the chocolate. That's what you call a peak time. Right? You're a ghost, you have a desire for chocolate, but you still can't get it. So a ghost, what it has, he doesn't lose desires. The inherent quality of the soul is actually to desire. Everyone desires something in life, yes or no? We're all desiring things. We want to get into a good school, we want to be in a good relationship, we want to see good things, we want to make good things. Everyone has desires. And so a ghost, he also has a desire, but he can't fulfill those desires. So, depending on power, right, that the ghost has, which is called Shakti, so bringing it back, depending on the power that a ghost has, it can literally take over someone else's body. Does that make sense? Right? So the ghost has a soul and a subtle body and not a gross body. So depending on the power that it has, it can take over someone else's body. And why does it want to do that?
So it can do it.
So it can eat chocolate. Great. Right, so it can enjoy all its desires. And what do we call that in modern day English? It's called a possession. Right? Everyone knows? Everyone's seen films about possessions. Right, who's seen Paranormal Activity?
So crap.
Right? Paranormal Activity, right? Yeah, so Paranormal Activity is one film about possessions, getting possessed. And so this is what a ghost actually does. Right? This is what a ghost actually does. And it depends on how powerful they are. So I know of 2 powerful ghosts, right? And in Vedic literature they give the name of 2 powerful ghosts. First one is called it's called a Mohini Ghost. Sorry. It's called a Mohini Ghost. Right? Everyone's like, I'm not talking to her anymore. So there's a ghost called a Mohini Ghost, and what happens is that, and people have actually seen this. So can we hit these lights again? Can we hit these lights? You want to hear another ghost story?
Yes.
No.
Right? Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Oi, oi.
Okay, so this actually happened this year. Right, we need silence for this. Maybe even you could close the lights outside, someone.
Because I'm where you go? So you dropped your pen. Where you go? We're going back to our dark now.
You guys ready? So this happened this year. It was this year that this actually happened. Put your hand up if you came on the Sena Getaway Retreat 2014. This year, one of the devotees, Spanish devotee, his name is Deva Shekara. Anyone know him?
Yeah.
People know who he is? So he lives 5 minutes away from the temple. And if it wasn't for Pandita Sena, the temple actually only has a few devotees, 5, 6 devotees. So imagine being in that temple with only 5, 6 devotees. It's a scary place to go to, right? Imagine at night, walking around, and there's no water, which I was. So walking around that place at night, it's a scary place. So, after the 24-hour kirtan, Deva Shekara and his brother, they had to walk all the way back to the house. It's about a 20-minute walk. And as they were walking back down the clay road, right, Deva Shekara, all of a sudden, hears a loud, high-pitched scream reverberating through his ears. A high, loud pitch. And he starts shouting, "Did you see that? Did you see that? Did you hear that?" Right? He starts shouting, literally. He told me this. He started shouting, right? And he tells his brother, "Did you hear that?" And then his brother's like, "No, what are you talking about?" And so he's still shouting because he can still hear this. He's literally going crazy. And if any one of you have met him, he's quite a mellow guy. He's quite down to earth, easy to talk to. He's really mellow, really calm. He was playing the mridanga. There's a mridanga player from Spain. Really calm, walking down the road. And now he's just screaming. And his brother's like, calm down, there's nothing there. And all of a sudden, when they turned around, they saw a white female face, right? With her feet inverted, right? With her feet inverted. So they both ran back to the house, locked the door, said something called the Nishingadev Pranam mantra. Shri Narshingu, Jai Narshinga, Jai Jai Narshingadev, Bredadesha, Jaya Padma, Mukha Padma, Bringu. So they're saying this, praying so loud. But all they could hear is this voice of the ghost, still screeching, banging on their door. So it's a true story, something called a Mohini Ghost. Another type of ghost. Do you want to hear another story about the manna? You guys ready? Yes! Are you guys a man? Or a woman enough? So, how long have we got?
Plenty of time.
You guys ready? So whoever made these pumpkins, they're actually really cool.
Woo, Deco team!
Deco team, really good job. Really good. It's just the HJ one. Okay.
Good job.
So, Bhaktivedanta Manor actually holds a lot of ghosts. But those ghosts are normally quite different. Those ghosts actually have spiritual desires. So actually want to experience spirituality. It says some people, at one stage of spirituality, you can see subtle entities moving, right? So there's just how, with your eyes, you can't actually see bacteria, right? You can't see bacteria. They're all around you. They're even in your... Apparently you have more bacteria in your body than your own cells. More bacteria in your body than your own cells. Just with your eyes you can't see them, but you need an instrument, a microscope, to actually see bacteria, so you know they're true. Similarly, spirituality gives you the instruments to see something of a higher nature, to see subtle beings, to see spiritual beings, to actually see the soul. Spirituality gives you the tools to actually experience that. And so one day, at the manor, bringing it back, this was in the 1970s, when Prabhupada was still here. The manor theatre room used to be called the Brahmacharya Ashram. It's where all the monks used to stay. Right? There was no chairs in there. It's where all they used to sleep. And above the theatre area, there was these kind of two kind of theatre faces, like these masks that you guys have. There's these two theatre faces. You see, like when we talk about ghosts, actually it attracts ghosts. So last time Agogo Palpu was there, do you remember when the poster fell down? Do you guys remember that? So you see, like there's no wind in this room, but still stuff always moves around, and because we're actually stuff actually moves around. So this is serious business. Literally, tonight, I wouldn't advise staying alone for long periods of time, because when we talk about ghosts, it really does attract them. It really does. And so, the brahmacharis were sleeping one night, and it said that these faces and these ghouls, they actually attract ghosts. These kind of faces, they attract ghosts. You see outside the theatre room, there's just two faces, similar like that, but on a bigger scale. And so one night, they hear, right? They hear Vedic mantras just being chanted. Vedic mantras, right? You guys know, I think you guys are from like quite a good background. You know what Vedic mantras sound like. I hear Vedic mantras when they sound, they thought it was someone's alarm. They're like, shut up, we're trying to sleep. Still Vedic mantras being chanted, very traditional tone, Vedic mantras. And all of a sudden, they see black-faced person in dhoti, right? Black dhoti, right? Red kurta, black hair, long hair, beard, right? It wasn't Osama bin Laden. And I'll give you something about me. I don't like scary films. I really hate scary films. We were in Harrows. Me, Abhishek, and Kishan 5-6 years ago went to watch Paranormal Activity. I think it was, yeah. And I was the only one that was scared. Like I couldn't watch it. And you guys, yeah. I'd let you know that about me. I'll let you know that about me. So I don't like scary films. But this is true. The brahmacharis saw this personality, and this personality is called a Brahma Rakshas. Brahma Rakshasas, normally they're in India. It said these are given in Vedic literatures, the description, what they look like, their capabilities. This is when really powerful devotee goes bad, right? The powerful devotee falls from his position, and he uses his power to influence, uses his power with black magic, right? Voodoo, you guys heard of that? Voodoo, black magic, where you can possess someone. So black magic is a skill, right? It's an art. Just like we chant Hare Krishna, there's other mantras you can do to influence someone else's mind to do something for you. That's powerful. You can do that in India. And you see many communities in India that are using that black magic. Many communities in the Amazon rainforest using the art of black magic to manipulate people. Very dark magic. And so that Brahma Rakshas was using this and was trying to influence everyone. And so everyone's praying like, oh, Nishingadev pranams, they're trying everything, nothing's working, it's still there. And do you know what? So now we're going to talk about what actually gets rid of ghosts. Do you know what they did? Anyone know? They shouted Jai Prabhupada really loudly. Everyone, Prabhupada, and the ghost went away. Do you see that? So, actually, Vedic mantras, right? They're like different types of medicine. Vedic mantras are like different types of medicine. Just like you take different types of medicine for different diseases, we also take different mantras for different ailments of the mind, of the intelligence, of the false ego. So different mantras have different potencies, different meanings. And it's said that the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is the most powerful mantra in the world, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And arguably, actually, sincerely connecting that to a higher spiritual personality like Srila Prabhupada, like our esteemed acharyas, connecting that mantra to them is actually what makes it powerful, right? That's why you say, what do we say before we chant Hare Krishna? Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Mishtai Namaste Saraswati Deva Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Because we're praying for the devotion, praying for the mercy of these esteemed personalities so we can chant purely. And so these mantras, they're really powerful. Man means mind, tra means actually to free the mind. So these mantras actually show us how we can cut away, right, the subtle body, cut away the false ego, and actually experience the pleasures of the soul. The soul is naturally pleasurable, right? It naturally just wants to give you happiness. But just like being locked in a room or locked in a straitjacket, our material desires don't allow us to act freely. So actually connecting to the Maha Mantra for this day and age is the most powerful way. First of all, you can resist ghosts, right? There's other things like clicking your fingers. Can everyone click? Try clicking. Right? Ghosts will go. Ghosts will go. But the most powerful way to get rid of ghosts is actually chanting the holy name connected to a spiritual personality. And that's why, if you see the book table at the back, all these books are written to actually show how to chant the holy name. Right? So one person came up to Srila Prabhupada and said, oh, Srila Prabhupada, you say that God is unlimited. So the Prabhupada was like, yes. And the reporter's like, so then why have you written all these books about what Krishna does and what the Srimad Bhagavatam is and what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu do? Why have you written all these books? What is actually the point of doing all of this? And Srila Prabhupada is like, so you can understand that God's unlimited and we're limited. So you see that? So although God's unlimited and we're limited, this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra connects us to that unlimited source. Right? The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is something, what it does, it cleans the mirror of the mind. Because when the mind is peaceful, right, and when the intelligence is pure, right, when we have this transcendental knowledge, we can actually connect to the Maha Mantra easier. How many of you have chanted and your mind's gone away? Right? How many of you have chanted and you start thinking about what you're going to eat? Right? How many of you have chanted and have been distracted by one of your friends. It's because you haven't controlled your mind and you guys don't know how to control your mind. Right? We actually are having so much trouble controlling the mind. But the first verse of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Shikshashtakam is Cheto Tarpana Marjanam, cleaning the mirror of the mind. So that's why this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is so powerful. It's so powerful. It can get rid of ghosts, but more importantly, it can get rid of the ghosts of our material desires. Right? And when we get rid of the ghosts of our material desires, we have influence into a pure spiritual source. And that's what we're giving away freely at Harrow's. Actually, all of you are very special people, right? If you actually read Vedic literature, every single one of you are so special to be seated here today, listening, getting bored by this little sermon or whatever it is, right? Because all of you actually have gained so much spiritual credit to be listening to about Ghost, but to be listening and to be experiencing something called Krishna consciousness. So all of you are so very special. I'm also very grateful to be here with all of you, because I see all of you doing such amazing stuff. Like, wasn't that video amazing? Wasn't the decor absolutely brilliant? Setting up the whole room, cooking all the prasad, right? This is devotional service. And you might think that, oh, it's just Harajami again. But this devotional service is actually the essence of the soul. It's the essence of consciousness. It's what the soul wants to do. So when we purify that over and over again, you can actually feel more happiness than any CEO, than the President of the United States. You can feel more happiness than anyone in the whole world. So all of you are very, very special people. So on that note, I want to end it there. I want to thank you very much. So hopefully, just to recap, we also talked about some ghost stories. Don't worry. Like they say in Crime Watch, if anything has affected you today, right, call that number. I was going to say it's the Hare Krishna Mantra, but it's called rather than no, he'll sort it out for you. So, don't have nightmares about this stuff. It's really so insignificant. All of you are special people. You're not even going to... No ghost will be able to touch you, right? Remember the holy name. And we also talked about the different levels of ourselves. There's a gross body. Deeper than that is the subtle body, the mind, intelligence, false ego. Deeper than that is the soul, right? And the soul is what we actually want to tap into. Then we talked about how the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra connected to spiritual personalities, connected to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and all the gurus that we have, because they gave it to us, they actually give us the power. That can get rid of ghosts. Clicking your fingers, it said, gets rid of ghosts. Whistling apparently attracts ghosts. Those things are minor. And then we said that this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra cleans the mirror of the mind. Right? Hare Krishna Maha Mantra cleans the mirror of my mind. And what else does it do? It gets rid of the ghosts of our material desires. Right? So we're very grateful to be here. And thank you very much for inviting me last minute rather than early team. And let's do some kirtan and let's rave it up, old school Harajami style. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.